Hello, this week I'm going to be making a start on the tanks for my 30 Corps, and I'm going to start with the Sherman Mark III by Rubicon. Before I start, I'll just tell you a little bit about how I'm actually going to approach this. I think the best thing to do is what I'll do is I'll take photographs as I actually go through it and photograph each stage and use that to make the video so you can see in more detail what I've actually added. So I'm going to start by selecting this top for my tank because I want the British Mark III. So I'll bring you back shortly when I've collected the parts that I'm going to put together next. Right, on to the first part. I went with these hooded arrangements for the tracks, and they went together really simply. No gaps at all to mention. And then it was on to the smaller parts with all the hatches and lamps and things like that. And again, they all went together really well. You know, no seams or anything. And then onto the turret, which went together really well. You just got to remember not to get glue on the gun arrangement so it can move up and down. Oh, the little bit that's left over, by the way, I cut out in error, so that's why that's there. And then for my hatch, I put this together closed because I don't go with a commander, and I've not used the pintle gun either because the British didn't tend to use them. Then onto the base of the tank. Again, a relatively simple thing to follow. Everything comes together quite well. It's very clearly marked and there's no seams to speak of at all. Just wanted to bring you back a minute, just show you the detail on these tracks. I'm really impressed. I mean, the way you put these bits in, I haven't glued it yet, I'll just place it in dry. But you put all three in there, and it's just got so much more detail than, you know, some of the moulded tracks. Well, that's going to look really effective when it's in place and painted up. But I just thought I'd share that bit with you because I was really impressed with the way they went in. I don't think I've had one like this before where I've put these pieces in separate. And obviously I'm making up the Mark III Sherman that these are on. But I have got some other Shermans, so I'll see how they compare. Right, I'll bring you back in a second. As you can see, they've gone together really well. And once they were done, I could look at fixing them to the bottom part of the chassis. Again, nice notches. You know, you couldn't go wrong. It showed you exactly where they needed to be, which made it really simple. All I've got to do now is add the top. Again, it shows you exactly where to put it. Goes together really well without seams. Right, so that's the last of the bottom parts to put on. I've still got the top of the turret to finish, but just put this in place. Right. We'll just go back and we'll put the Mark III hatch on now. Right, so I've added the hatch now. As you can see, there's no pintle mounted machine gun. From what I've been reading, it wasn't popular with the British. So a lot of the M3 Shermans didn't have the pintle mounted machine gun. They just relied on the front gun and obviously the main gun. So, you know, in keeping with that, I thought, you know, I'd better observe that really in the way I've made this up. So I haven't added the the pintle mounted gun. So, you know, it is an option, I know, but I'm going to leave it off on this one. So that's it completed. But just before I wind the video up, I thought I'd just show you all the spares that I've got left over. Now, obviously, I don't use the tank commander popping out the hatch, so that was always going to be a spare for me. As you can see, I've got a whole top section of the tank available. Got the turret and all the gun arrangement with the MMGs. Various other little added extras, lamps and hatches. So they're all spare. Got the hedge cutters, which I've decided I'm not using because obviously mine's going to be based in Holland, so I don't need them. You've got quite a few little hatches and things left on that as well. This grill bar. Then you've got the different types of trims that you can have. I've gone for the skirt version, but you can use these ones instead. And then you've got the different engine grill. And then also, I took off a couple of bits that I'd overlooked and thought, oh, I'll need them. But then I looked again and I didn't. So I've got a little hatch, and then I've got the tool as well that you can put on it. So all of that is spares, and it's going to make for a nice little collection of parts that I can play with and adapt and all sorts afterwards. Because obviously I've got a series of tanks to go through. But it was quite an easy build, really. When you first look at all the parts, you think, oh, blimey, there's a lot to do. But as I say, as you can see, there's a lot of them are just alternate parts. So that's the Mark III finished. Just before I wind up, I'm not going to go ahead and do the priming and the painting and everything else. I think I said before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get through the various tanks and things that I've got to build, and then I'm going to do all the painting at the end. So for now, I'm just going to go through putting them all together. Right, well, thanks for joining me. As I say, on the whole, it's been quite a straightforward little build. Just a few bits that you have to take care of, you know. I suppose it'd be easy to make a mistake if you didn't look at the parts correctly, with there being so many, you know, different variations you can use. But thanks again for joining me. I hope you found it interesting. And if you have, please consider giving me a thumbs up, or even subscribing so you can see when I start to build all the other tanks, and then hopefully get onto the paint jobs. Okay then, thanks again for joining me. Bye.